Hello, welcome to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah. With me here, I'm delighted to host Dr. DeGraft Johnson, Ghanaian born and raised, now a renowned cardiothoracic surgeon. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. Thank you so much for having me.
Very good. How does it feel to be in the news?
Well, it was a bit surprising, quite frankly, and that was not at all my intention. I just try to take care of patients to the best of my ability and use whatever technology that I can leverage to make their lives better. And what happened thereafter was totally unexpected, but I'm grateful and I'm humbled by everything that's happening.
Very good. DeGraft Johnson, the name Johnson can be from anywhere. Nigeria, Kenya, United States. Johnson, where are you from?
Well, I was born in Ghana. My family has been in Ghana for generations.
Okay.
And De Graft Johnson, primarily, we are from the Cape Coast area.
Mhm.
That's where my family originated. I myself was born in Tema, Ghana. Grew up there until I immigrated to the United States, when I was a little bit younger.
Okay, a little bit younger. Yeah, well, what you're not telling us is that you're a descendant of a former vice president of Ghana, Dr. DeGraff Johnson. Is that your uncle or your grandfather? Or what?
No, that is correct. That is obviously a relative, from my father's side, and that's, essentially technically would be a grand uncle.
Okay, grand uncle. Okay, very good.
Yeah,
And your family, to be honest with you, um, your parents must be extremely proud of you. There are four of you,
that is correct.
and all of you are in the medical field
That is correct.
with two surgeons, renowned surgeons, I might add.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. How did you guys pull it off?
Well, the honest to God truth is that it's really God. And I give thanks and glory to the Lord that guided us. And but in part also, I have to give a great deal of credit to both my mom and my dad, for bringing us up and emphasizing education at their earlier age. My father worked at the medical center in Houston. He's a chaplain, and so he would bring us to the medical center, when we were young on a routine basis. And by being in that environment, naturally you get exposed to people walking around in white coats and, scrubs and things of that nature. And that was obviously very, very attractive. And so, that I think that planted a seed that naturally evolved to, where we are today.
Even that, it is really remarkable that your sister is the oldest,
Correct.
and she is what?
No, she's a nurse. She's
Okay.
been practicing as a nurse midwife for many, many, many years. And
Okay.
she's obviously the one that started this whole thing and ignited it and went into the medical field.
Very
And
good.
then I shortly thereafter followed in suit. But I wanted to be, a doctor, but didn't quite know exactly which kind. But while in medical school, I had the opportunity to be exposed to cardiovascular and thoracic surgery, and that just ignited something within me that this is what I would like to do. I would like to pursue, and so that's how this came about. Yeah,
And then
and then
you managed
obviously,
to get that into your younger brothers as well.
exactly. And then of course, my younger brothers also followed, Moses in particular, followed suit. He came to visit me while I was in medical school, actually lived with me. And then shortly thereafter, I noticed that he's applying to medical school as well.
And the
And
younger one, Jeff, is
and
what?
then Yeah, and then Jeffrey is an MD PhD. He decided, he was more into into the research aspect of things. So he did a lot of work in basically free radicals type research, anti-aging, and he's quite an expert in that area.
Very good, very good. Anyway, yeah, I know your parents are very proud of you, but let's get to why are you in the news? What are you into now? Or shall I say, let me put it this way. What are you up to now?
Well, well, I'm, basically, I'm just trying to take care of patients, yeah,
Mhm.
Jermaine, and try to figure out ways in which, we can improve, the lives and the livelihood of people in our communities. And our communities, what I mean by that is locally where I am right now in California, but also, as far reaching shores as Ghana, which is my homeland, which my heart really, truly belongs. And so day in and day out, I'm just another Ghanaian kid who just happened to be in the United States and blessed to be afforded the opportunities that I've had. And so the natural question is, how does one give back? And how does one, really, get back to helping the community that they live in or grew up in, and friends and families that you left behind in Ghana? And so I don't think I'm alone in this sort of mindset or on this thought process. I think every diaspora, every Ghanaian living abroad, have the same beck and calling. There is always this whispers in the back of your head, this beck and call, that, somebody back home is calling your name, reaching out to you, to have you come do something that would significantly impact and make a difference in their lives. And I'm sure, again, I'm not alone in this, that we wake up every day trying to answer that call
Okay,
and try to figure out a way to make a significant impact. So
fine.
naturally, my talent lies in medicine and in surgery in particular. Then, the question is that, well, how do you live in America and then go do surgery in Ghana? Sure, I can fly there, do a few surgeries and fly back, but that's only a drop in the bucket. Doesn't really make a dent. I may feel good that I did something good, but what does that really mean and how does it significantly impact? This is where, what I'm up to, I think that finally may have an impact.
Okay.
Now, when I was in medical school,
Mhm.
I had the privilege of being awarded a United States Naval Scholarship.
Oh, cool.
So I became a naval officer that served the United States Navy. And back in those days, one of the things that we were working on was this device that would allow a surgeon to operate remotely
Hmm.
so that if there will be a soldier on the battlefield who is
Hmm.
injured, you can
Hmm.
actually operate on that soldier remotely and not put the medical team in harm's way.
Okay.
So this was the conceptual idea.
Hmm.
But obviously, back in those days, we didn't have the internet connectivity as we do now. And so the project was somewhat, abandoned, and the technology was acquired by another company that further developed it for domestic use.
Hmm.
Fast forward to today, in 2024, now we have connectivity and now we have satellite, internet, what have you, that we can connect anywhere on planet Earth, instantaneously, which reinvigorate or reignite the original concept of this idea, except not for military purposes, but
Hmm.
rather for
Hmm.
civilian use.
Right.
So what I'm working on right now and what I'm hoping to accomplish is that I could sit right here in this hospital behind me in California
Hmm.
and yet be able to operate on my fellow Ghanaians, brothers and sisters, in Ghana, and be able to provide them the same level of quality care as I'm doing right here,
Okay,
but
okay,
way
time
back
out.
home.
Time out. This is where I call time out. You're going to sit in California, which is almost 7,000 miles away from Ghana,
Correct.
and you're manipulating devices and you are actually operating on someone in Ghana.
That is correct.
How? Who does the cutting, the scissors and all those things?
Yeah. Obviously, this will call for a bit of a planning, and
Okay.
this calls for a bit of a team approach and
Mhm.
partnership.
Right.
With talented brothers and sisters in Ghana.
Mhm.
Now, again, I'll be the first to admit that if you were to talk to some of my classmates that I went to school with as a young boy, you find out very quickly that that the most talented people that was in my class, are still in Ghana. In other words, we have the smartest and the most brilliant people that I know.
America, they say ditto that. I mean, I've run into some brains in Ghana, and
Yeah,
it'll shock you. So that part,
yeah,
you got it. How are you gonna put it
yeah.
all
I mean that.
together?
Yeah. So, so the talent is not the issue. The
Right,
intelligence is not the issue.
right.
We have a great deal of brilliant minds in
Hmm.
Ghana.
Hmm.
And so, so step one is, identifying these individuals, which I don't think will be that hard. That's the easy part. The second part is that we really need, the vision, this vision that I'm outlining, to be a shared common vision by the leaders of the country, to
Right.
recognize that, that our true value and our true wealth
Hmm.
of Ghana is what lies in our brains, what's in
Absolutely.
our heads. Not only in mine, I'm just only one person, but
Hmm.
the young people that are living in that country right now that perhaps may feel, desperate, destitute, and feel that perhaps maybe the only way to accomplish anything is to leave the country. And I would dare say to them that the place to be is right there in Ghana.
Right.
Help us, because those of us that live here, and you know this, we are always dying to go back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the quagmire. I mean, we're here are dying to go back home, whereas those in Ghana are dying to come here. But to touch on what you're saying, look, we did the hard work. In Ghana, they will say, "Oh, as for you, you've had the chance to go. Now you don't want us to go, right?" But we did the hard work. We traveled to lay the ground and everything, and we found out that what we were looking for is actually back home.
yes.
If we can work together to realize that vision together.
Correct. Jermaine, you hit the nail right on the head. And you're right. And I've had these conversations with a few friends, and you're
Mm,
right. And they say exactly that. Like, I mean, you in America, you're doing well there, and you don't want us to come, and you say to stay home, and and you rather you come here, what have you. And what they don't understand is that and I'm reminded of a song that my grandmother always used to sing. And the lyrics of the songs goes a little something like this, and it's in our language.
mhm,
Debi debi a medru fie no, na meka masam akyerɛ m'abusuafo wɔ
mhm,
m'akwantuo mu. Ne mu nsɛm ɔyɛyɛ wo pii, Awurade, menyi na ɔda. These are the words that, even though I heard my grandmother sing this song, long time ago when I was a little boy,
mm,
but every now and then I keep hearing the same voice singing in the back of my head.
yeah.
And it's almost reminiscent of like if I can only take everybody in Ghana, bring
Mhm,
them here to actually witness the reality of what we deal with here on a daily basis, Then very quickly you realize that our motto, freedom and justice, actually live
Is a
truly in
feature.
Ghana and not elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so that realization is to come true. Yes, there's a lot of work that we need to do.
Mhm.
Yes, there's things that we can, improve upon or what have you. But sitting here, looking there and visiting from time to time, we see it. We
Yeah.
recognize it,
Yeah.
and we recognize that we are not that far away. And if we can just get a few things in alignment,
Hmm.
nobody will want to leave. Quite frankly,
Absolutely.
others will want to come to Ghana.
Absolutely. Okay. So this machine, this system, what do you call it?
So it is, the Da Vinci robotic system,
Da
developed
Vinci,
by, yeah, Da Vinci,
Da Vinci robotic system. Okay.
correct. Developed by, Intuitive Surgical. That is the name of the company that invented. Now there are other platforms that are emerging, but so back to what I was saying is that, we build a team. We partner with already an existing hospital. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are many beautiful hospitals in Ghana that can do this.
Okay.
And then it just takes, a little, bit of training, not that much, because again, I've visited some colleagues in Ghana who are cardiothoracic surgeons, and the innovation and the thought process that they come up with and things that they're doing, I mean, it's incredible and
Okay.
it's inspiring and it's amazing.
Okay.
So again, to the point that I don't think it would take that much. I don't think that it would be that hard. And with that partnership, then we can create a system whereby we can have, a portion of the robot in Ghana, a
Hmm.
portion here in America.
Hmm.
And quite frankly, not only I'm the only one that operates it and do this surgery, what have you, we train our own Ghanaian brothers and sisters to be able to do it. Now, there may be some things that I may be good, I may be a little bit better at it because I've been doing it a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Sure, I can dial in and help do the surgery.
Okay.
But let's say, for example, in the middle of surgery, there will be, the all famous doom saw and the electric power will go out.
Right.
Our brothers and sisters on the ground will be well equipped to take over and
Right.
do the surgery.
Well, I
And
mean,
obviously you
there's
build in a
always there's always secondary power generation when you're doing life
exactly.
and death critical stuff like that. So that one is not going to be an issue. But let me emphasize on this. The Da Vinci robotic system. What's your relationship with it? Are you the creator or the operator or what?
Yeah, so basically, I operate the robot, so
Okay.
so basically, and in my mind, the robot is simply, another tool.
Okay.
So as a surgeon, you are a surgeon that does surgery, right? So my options are I've got a knife, I've got a camera, and I've got a robot. Which
Okay.
device do I use to effect the treatment of a patient? So in this case, the robot is just another tool in the tool bag that we use to do the surgery.
Okay.
The only difference now is that it just so happened that it has a far-reaching, technologically advancement that one can use. Just think back, not too long ago, if you wanted to make a phone call,
Hmm.
you have to go to a very specific area in your house because
Hmm.
that's where the phone existed and it's
Right.
attached to a wall. You
Hmm.
couldn't go anywhere. And if somebody wanted to phone you, you have to be home to receive that call.
Right.
Now I can call you anywhere, but both are phones. One just happened to, allow you to be mobile, and the other one you're tethered to your kitchen table. And this is the same thing. Both are surgical tools, except one allows me to do much more complicated things remotely and locally.
But wait, you're talking about the analogy that you just gave with the rope, and I'm trying to get those of us who have lay minds to understand. With regards to a phone call, yes, there's radioactive mechanism through which the information or the voice travel. But in the case of surgery, you're actually touching somebody's body parts.
Mhm.
How do you do that 7,000 miles away?
Well, so again, all you need is that, so the technology is just amazing, not number one, right? And I guess the analogy again will be, in the past, if I wanted you to come visit me in my house,
Hmm.
I would give you the direction. I will tell you I live here and so and so. And if it's in Ghana, it will be just go by, you see a coconut tree, there's somebody selling whatever, ask them, turn
Oh,
left, turn right.
you
And
see, you see, you
hopefully,
see, now you just prove to everybody that you're really a Ghanaian. That's how we give direction.
and then
You
you
reach
hope to God that
a
it's not
woman
raining.
selling coconuts. There's a tree there. You pass there. Yeah, that's how we give
Yeah,
directions.
correct. But now, even in Ghana,
Uh,
you grab your phone, you go to Google Map, and then you enter in the address where you're trying to go, and it will navigate you through even areas in Ghana that you and I may not even be familiar that it exists to get you the very same point that you're trying to go to, right? How does
mhm.
that happen? What is going on there, right? And it's the same thing that the technology has advanced to the level that it can allow us to control things remotely. You know,
Right.
children fly drones all the time. You
Wait,
know,
wait. So you're going to be controlling the surgery instruments remotely with that
remotely,
level of
correct.
precision?
Correct. Just like, I mean, people fly drones all the time. When I was a kid, the only thing I flew was a kite, but it had a string attached to
Right.
the kite flying, right? But now there's a remote control. You are flying the drone. Where is the connection? How is it happening? Right? It's the
Wow.
same idea, same concept.
Okay. So I guess my mental block is preventing me from seeing. I can see a kite, I can see a drone. There are room, I mean, there are inches, centimeters, right? But when you're talking about the precision of someone's vein, for example,
Correct.
that's where I'm having difficulty wrapping my mind around how it's possible to do that. But you say it's possible.
It's possible. Yes,
Good.
yes, yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
how do we
The
bring this to
technology has
Ghana?
been worked out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no, no. I mean, and the technology is amazing, and it can be
Okay.
achieved. Yes,
Okay. So how do we do this? Obviously, like you began with the interview, there's always somebody calling from home, and you want to answer that call. Right now, you're in the position. You are the operator of the Da Vinci robotic system, right?
right.
First of all, how many are you? Are you solo, or is there a lot of you?
Well, we are using the Da Vinci robots to do a variety of different surgeries already.
Okay.
So, various abdominal surgeries, gynecological surgeries, you
Okay.
name it. The cardiac one is the one that is, the heart is always sort of like the holy grail. That's like always the final frontier, that
Okay.
there's so many delicacies there and nuances that makes it quite challenging. So
Okay.
many people shy away from that. And so by being able to do that or conquer it, if you will, it's kind of what, elevated everything on the news because of the natural challenges and barriers that exist with even a regular open heart surgery. I mean, it can be very complicated.
Okay.
So, but there's so many other surgeries that we can be accomplished with the same device.
Okay. Now, obviously, now let's transition to Ghana. Da Vinci operating in Ghana. What are the possibilities and what are the constraints in terms of license and patents and stuff? Who holds the patent on all those?
Well, again, this device is commercially now available through
Okay.
the intuitive surgical company, right? So so basically, just a phone call to the company and tell them, where you want it and one will be delivered. Because right now, I can tell you that this conversation that we're having exactly the same conversation in Angola. And some of my partners have already been on the ground, and are working to bring the robot system to Angola.
Okay.
And because they're very interested in having them, and we are going through the process of training, the surgeons there to be able to function independently, and obviously any remote assistance that they can, that they may need, we are, ready to help them out with that. So the process is already in place, and
Okay.
so we can easily activate that in Ghana, but
Okay.
obviously, one has to be very mindful and very respectful of our culture, our customs, and our local laws.
Okay.
So I would not dare decide, hey, I'm just going to bring this to Ghana because I want to bring it to Ghana. Naturally, we would have, this is something that we will have to, consult with the Minister of Health, consult with the government, make sure that, it is appropriate, quite frankly, for the environment. This may be my wish, but, as our culture dictates, we must always be respectful of our elders and consult with them
Absolutely.
and gain their
Absolutely.
wisdom before we proceed.
Sure. Has this thing been mass produced yet?
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
when you talk about all it takes is to make a phone call to the company, but what advantage does Ghana have that Angola would not have by virtue of you being a Ghanaian?
Well, I think that, again, it's one of those things that we did not call Angola, Angola called us.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of, and so it's not something that we are, deliberately or actively pushing to other people, right?
Right.
I mean, just last week, I was in Houston, training a team of surgeons that came from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Again, we did not call Saudi Arabia, Saudi
They
Arabia
called
called
you.
us,
Okay.
and so it's one of those things that, like, this is what it is, this is what it can do. If you think that it is something that will benefit your society, your community, and your people, we're
Mhm.
happy to help. We're happy
Absolutely.
to, to
And,
provide.
and just out of curiosity, the training that happened in Houston of surgeons from Saudi Arabia, how long, what was the duration of the training?
Yeah, so the process began by first as, so they invited us. So,
Mhm.
right. So the first we traveled to Saudi Arabia, we visited with them, had conversations, observed the surgeons, assessed their skill level, see what they are, what the familiarity with any sort of minimally invasive ideas and concept, right? And then there's also simulators that we, training pathway that we allow them to basically participate in. And then once they've reached a certain level, then we bring them over here to the United States, and and there are centers all over the place.
Okay.
So in this particular center happens to be in Houston, so we brought them to Houston. But we've got centers here in California, Florida, all over the United States.
Okay.
So we brought them to specifically to Houston, and then in Houston, then they really get a hands-on experience, playing with the actual, robots, simulating actual surgeries and all that kind of stuff. And then so we do, that for like a period of, I mean, this is like a whole week, process that we do
Okay.
this.
What are some of the infrastructure that need to be in place locally for the Da Vinci to work?
So for example, okay, and I don't want to mention specifically any hospital, by name, out of respect for the other hospitals that are
Okay.
doing great work to serve our people in Ghana, you
Mhm.
know, but I can just off on top of my head, I can name at least 5 hospitals that I think that are prime that can do this like tomorrow. You
Okay.
know,
In Ghana,
yeah,
right?
yeah, in Ghana, yes, yes,
Okay.
but I don't want to, put that out there,
That's fine. That's fine.
but
I
but
mean, you don't want to
yeah,
give them free ad, but these hospitals, are they all all five of them concentrated in Accra, or they're spread out through the country?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was one, I mean, there's one specifically in Tema.
Hmm.
Majority of them will be in the Accra area. Other parts of Ghana, I haven't extensively traveled to because usually when I come home, I'm usually on the coastal,
Right. Okay.
area. So that's what my exposure has been,
Okay.
and that's what I've seen. But I think that, they stand ready. I mean, they're ready to go,
Infrastructure, from
infrastructure wise.
infrastructure perspective, they're ready.
They're
What
ready.
about
Yeah.
what about investment? Actually, as I'm talking to you, guess who is calling me? Moses, but your brother. Okay, okay, I'll call him back.
Yeah,
Um,
tell them to say hi.
I'll tell him to say hi. So investment, how much are we looking at in
You
terms
know,
of that?
I think, the robot itself, the component itself is, the market price for the robot itself is 2.5 million US dollars.
Okay.
So that's just for the robot. Now, obviously, there is an additional cost in terms of what it takes to train, the staff and the team to be able to operate it and use it for surgical uh, purposes. So this is not, something that one individual can just say, oh, okay, I'm just going to go buy a robot, and go. This is something that if a hospital would want to do that, obviously this would involve the CEO, the president of the hospital,
Absolutely.
board
Absolutely.
members, what have you, coming
Absolutely.
up together and seeing if it's something that's feasible for them to do.
If I want to, let's say I have 2.5 million to invest, is that with accessories or with 2.5 million, that's everything? Or after I purchase that, there is some investment in accessories that I need to think about.
Yeah, so once you buy this robot, obviously it comes with service agreement.
Okay.
you know, I mean, whereby, the company would partner with you to basically help you develop, the infrastructure. Because what's the point buying the robot and they sit there and you're not sure how to use it, right?
Right.
So we got to make sure that if you're buying it, you know how to use it, you know how to operate it,
Right.
and quite frankly, it would translate to turning profit not only to your community, but also to you in terms of life saved and return on investment, right?
Okay.
And by doing that, others may see the value in this technology and others may want to buy it as well. So it is in our own interest that, that the program becomes successful, wherever it may be.
Before I let you go, it cannot be that, and I'm going back with what you said at the beginning of the this conversation, that as a Ghanaian, you hear that phone call and you want to answer that call, right? So it cannot be that if this is $2.5 million and training, whatever it is that investment is, it cannot cost the same to Angola as it does to Ghana. There has to be an advantage. Ghana has to come into this exchange with some kind of advantage. What are you willing to throw to Ghana as that advantage?
Well, I think that, there are so many different paths to the same end.
Mhm.
Obviously, my whole being and my whole endeavor has always been, what can I do to help my people in Ghana?
That's correct.
And we are just waiting. We're just waiting, in fact, begging to want to do something home.
Okay.
So the question is that, is this something that the people of Ghana want?
Okay.
And if so, and the desire is there, Jermaine, I assure you that this will come to fruition in the shortest amount of time than any other way. Because where else would I rather be? Who else would I rather
Absolutely.
be working with?
Absolutely.
So, and just the pure joy that this is now going to be in my homeland.
Okay.
That in itself is an inspiration and a motivation to
Absolutely.
ensure that we make it happen.
Dr. John DeGraff Johnson, thank you so much for talking to DNT Diaspora Weekly.
Thank you so much, Jermaine, and glad to have the opportunity to share my thoughts with you.
You
Thank you.
got it. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye.